We don't need them.
Hey, what's up,
I can
YouTube?
make some real quick if you want.
No, I'm totally good. I think we'll be quite all right without notes this week. Timestamps good. I'm gonna close my list off until we get to it. And all right, you ready?
Yes.
Yes,
I am.
Swirling
I'm
mouth
ready to
noises means
rumble.
you're ready.
Let's
All right,
get
cool.
ready
We're gonna
to rumble.
clap in here for MP3, and then we're gonna go. Ready? Starting the
So
show.
you know the number?
In
You know-
47.
You're sure?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Because I looked at our other one a couple minutes ago. 47. Here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 47 of Millennial Gaming Speak. I am your wonderful, fantastic, great host, Logan Moore. I'm stroking my own ego this week. With me is Max Roberts, that dude talking right there.
That's me. Do I get a fantastic nickname, intro, praise?
The blonde one, Max Roberts.
The blonde one.
The blonde one.
I'll roll with it. I'm the blonde one.
Well, I'll think up a good name.
I don't know why.
You're tired. You didn't have 15 cups of coffee this morning like I did because I've got the jitters. My hands seriously can't stop moving right now. So
you need to calm down.
Yeah, I have a problem.
You need to
right
take
now.
a chill pill, bro.
So Max, what's up? You're in a new location this week. What's going on?
I'm in a new location because I moved. I've moved out of the house and now I'm renting a room.
He lives with the Rolling Stones.
I do not live with the Rolling Stones. that would be a little weird. But I mean, looking around, I mean, it's still my room. It's just all my stuff got relocated.
It's still all your stuff, but just in a different location.
Yep, it's just all moved around a little bit.
We each have very bland backgrounds, and something I would like to change going forward. Maybe I don't know
if I can do very much.
I've got a Hylian shield I could put behind me at some point during the show if you're watching on YouTube. I don't know if that Hylian shield's going to entertain you, but it's something cool, I guess.
Something more video gamey than the pictures of men you have behind you.
Yeah, than the pictures of Metallica and Bruce Springsteen. There we go. It's opposite in the camera.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. MP3 people have no idea what we're talking about so far. This is a very video focused episode.
I'm curious what you've been playing lately because I've been chipping away at Persona and I started Limbo this morning.
You did play Limbo because I told you to. Probably gonna play Inside tomorrow when that comes out. So for reference, today we're recording on Tuesday. We're recording a little bit earlier than we normally do on Tuesday. So what's up? Inside comes out tomorrow, the 29th. Lego Star Wars comes out today, the 28th. That should be at my house shortly.
Not too long ago for me.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get that. Did you install it yet?
No, I haven't installed it yet. I don't even know if I'll open it because I'm playing it with Abby, but my second controller is out of commission. So
that the Lego games used to be an old boyfriend girlfriend game for me. Not that I had a boyfriend, but I was the boyfriend and I had my girlfriend play with me. You know what I'm talking about.
I picked up on the scenario. Yes,
that's a good couple game. Yeah, I've got Lego Star Wars coming in the mail. I'm actually going to be reviewing that. I'm writing again for a website. Shout out to PlayStation Insider, the website I am writing for. Got a bunch of great articles going up on the site over there. Shout out to the crew, Mark, Ian, Dan, Carter, Michael, anybody else that I'm forgetting that I don't talk to on a daily basis. What's up, guys? Yeah, check the website out. We've got a bunch of great content over there, all PlayStation focused. So if you are interested,
do they provide the copy for you?
No.
Or were you like, I'm buying this game so I can review it?
Yeah, we tried to reach out to TT Games, but we did not get a review copy in time. I think we may have reached out to them a little bit too late, but I already had the one coming from Amazon that I got for cheap anyway, so it wasn't too big of a deal.
Yeah, hooked you up with that price error, didn't I?
We got price errors the day.
Did you get the deluxe or just the regular?
I just got the regular.
Yeah, me too.
I'll probably get the season pass or whatever later on if I want to.
Season pass for a Lego game just seems weird.
I'm fine with it. It's like $5 or $10. So.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not like, they're taking all their money. It just sounds weird to say, oh, this Lego game has a season pass.
Speaking of season passes and Star Wars games, though, I've been playing Battlefront. Have jumped back into that. The Bespin DLC came out last week. I've put probably 4 hours into that so far, 4 or 5 hours, something around there into the new DLC. I like it a lot. They've got a new game mode I really enjoy called Sabotage. It's really fun.
You play first person or third person?
I still go first person.
Okay.
I don't think they've. I used to play third person in the old ones, but I don't think they've gotten it. It doesn't feel the same as it used to me, and I think it's a little too. It's a little too twitchy for me to play in third person. I don't know. My reflexes aren't as good when I play in third person on the game. But yeah, been playing Battlefront again. Still loving that game. Keep pouring.
I will buy Battlefront when I can fly an X-Wing in virtual reality.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to be separate or if that's going to be an add-on. Be curious to see what happens with all of that.
I believe it's an add-on. It says Star Wars Battlefront on it.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know if it's going to be its own separate thing.
What if it's included in your season pass? You don't even have to pay for it.
That would be nice. That would be very nice. I'd be very appreciative of that. But yeah, it's fun. New maps, a new mode. Lando and Dengar, the new heroes. I'm enjoying it. I like it. Haven't really been playing anything else. I've been kind of just in a holding pattern until Lego Star Wars gets here. So I'll probably start playing that tonight when I get home from work. If not before, depending on when we get done with recording this episode. But yeah, besides that, I don't know. I've just been kind of in waiting around mode, wait and see mode. And I was looking forward to Batman, but that got pushed back this morning. We're not really doing a normal news segment this week, but Batman Return to Arkham got pushed back. We don't know when it's coming out now. They didn't give us a new release date, so that's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. It's very empty for the next month and a half until No Man's Sky comes out. So you are yawning quite a bit. You need to wake up.
I know. I don't know what it is because I got plenty of sleep last night.
Max is very bored with our show this week.
Yeah, you're putting me to sleep.
Let me lay down what we're gonna do for you this episode. So as you can see by the title,
make it nice, comfortable.
I'm not gonna make it too comfortable because you'll go take a nap. As the title of the episode suggests, me and Max have each played PlayStation VR now. We played at the Best Buy demo kiosks this weekend. We've both got thoughts about it. We're going to jump into that in a couple minutes here. That's going to cover our news portion of the show this week because there's really not a lot of news to cover.
Reality.
Second half of the show is going to be our sort of final list. It's going to be our top 10 favorite current gen games. So PS4, Xbox One, PlayStation Vita, 3DS, and Wii U. Wii U is the other one. We're going to be counting down our top 10 favorites from all those systems. Finally, next week is going to be our top 10 favorite games of all time. We're looking forward to that next week. I don't know if we're going to just do we're trying to figure out how we want to do that episode next week. I'm thinking maybe it might be better to do a just one-off episode with just that being the focus of the entire episode, or it may depend on how much news comes out this next week. We'll figure it out as we go along. But yeah, so that's basically the layout of this show. Max, what have you been playing? Anything? Limbo? Inside probably tomorrow?
Persona,
you said that? Yeah.
That's all I've been playing. I've been busy moving.
Yeah. There's not a lot out. I mean, I'm trying to go back to Witcher still.
I played Overwatch for the first time in like 3 weeks last night.
I want to get back into that. See, I've been itching for that. I played Battlefront mostly the past week though, instead of Overwatch though. But I really do want to go back to Overwatch. That's been kind of nipping at my heels. Played Bloodborne with Kevin this morning. That was fun. For the 5 minutes we played together. So
slice and dice.
Yeah. So anyway, Max, let's get into our first sort of segment this week and what I just said we're going to talk about. PlayStation VR. We have played it now. We've both put the thing on our heads. It's the first time we've gone hands-on with it.
The real thing. The real headset.
We went to Best Buy. I didn't think there was a Best Buy near me that was doing the demo. Lucked out, found out there was one about 30 or 40 minutes away. Drove over there on Sunday, played 2 demos. We both played the same demos. And yeah, I don't know. What do you want to talk on first? What do you want to touch on? What was your initial thought? What was your initial thoughts with the thing first off, before we get into the weeds with what we thought of the demos and things like that?
You take one USB port out of your PlayStation, not 2. So you can use Like you could use your wireless headset with it if you wanted to. But the headset itself, super long cable, very, very light and comfortable. I was surprised by that. I thought it would
Yeah.
feel like a weight on the front of my face, but it's very comfortable.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you end up trying it with your glasses, by the way? Because I told you to try it both ways and report back and let me know what you thought. I think we're having technical difficulties. Please no. Dang it, man. Give us a moment, boob tubes.
oh, are you
You
there?
there? I'm here.
Oh,
Yeah.
yep, it was me. Okay.
I think it is you. Your feed's coming in really bad.
Yeah, it just
Maybe
said my.
maybe I was gonna say, yeah, maybe lower your settings down. I'll edit that all out. Um, so it's comfortable. Can you hear
It
me?
is.
Yeah, so it's
I can't
comfortable.
hear you.
Did you try it with your glasses? That was the last thing I asked you. I don't know if you heard me.
Yes, I did hear that, and I started talking about it, and then you whispered technical difficulties,
Okay.
and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, you're coming in pretty bad on my end.
yeah." The internet move was it was a slight downgrade, so uh, we'll see how this goes. But anyway, with glasses, I don't know if it was because of the demo and I didn't have time to like get it perfectly adjusted. There was room for them, but they did feel like they're slightly pushing the glasses into my face.
Okay.
And I can imagine after a long session with glasses, it would just get uncomfortable. I would wear no glasses or just my contact lenses. I don't think you even need to wear glasses in VR because it's just smack dab right, unless you're
Yeah, I've
nearsighted
I've wondered that too with the people who have
or
said that they need to
farsighted.
wear glasses. Like it's right there on your face. So is that gonna matter in the end?
I don't think it
I don't
will,
know.
but it would. It wasn't uncomfortable. Prolonged use would make it uncomfortable. Um, it's so light though. That was the cool
Yeah.
thing.
Very
It's
easy to adjust and put on your face as well, I
Mhm.
thought.
You just kind of pull it back and then you can adjust the panel forward with a button. The way headphones work with it, if you have wired headphones, is there's a little dongle on the cord that you plug into and it's got the full volume set of controls. So that's how that works. I thought that was actually rather interesting. So you can plug in any pair of headphones into this and it should pump out the virtual surround sound, I believe, like the 3D immersive
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah, I think
So
you're
you
right.
could, I mean, you could use your Apple earbuds. It won't sound as good or be as immersive because they're not noise canceling. But any pair of headphones will work with
It's an
these.
option at least. Yeah.
hmm Let's see. I mean, some things I thought were really cool about it is the processor unit looks like a mini PS4. I thought that
Yeah,
was a
I
nice
like
touch.
that too.
Another thing, it seems pretty simple to adjust your field of view, like your center with the headset. If you're just looking straight ahead and it doesn't seem center to you, you just hold. It's like boom, and then it centers itself, which I thought was very interesting. Like just it's super simple, easy, smart way to do it. It reminded me of Wii games that use Motion Plus and how you would calibrate it every so often.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that, but just way, way simpler. It seems all very intuitive and it looks good. It's like a good looking headset, inside and outside.
The one thing I heard about it from some people was that, so I brought this up to you. When I actually put the thing on my head, I thought the resolution looked worse than what I expected, I guess. And I don't know what I was expecting. I obviously didn't think it was going to look like 4K or anything like that, but it did look a little grainier than I thought it did. And I have heard some people say that the reason behind that was because you tried it in the store with the bright lights on in Best Buy. And if you try it on in the dark, it's almost completely different. It looks 10 times better. So I heard that was something I heard to be wary of with the Best Buy demos, is that it's not it's not the perfect experience like you'll have at
That could
home or
be.
like you have at E3 or something like that when you try it.
My first time, the way the headphones were put on my head, it was like holding the mask at a tilt. So some
Yeah.
light was in the bottom. So just I adjusted a little bit in the beginning and got it perfect dark inside the headset, and everything was fine. If you get too close to the screen, it does get blurry, but I didn't have any issues with the resolution. Like it looked perfectly fine to me. Both E Valkyrie and Super Hypercube looked really fine and really good, really immersive. Do you want to talk about the games?
Yeah, let's talk about the game. So we each played, Max just said them, we each played E Valkyrie and Super Hypercube to get an idea of how these things worked. Which way I know you liked Super Hypercube the most out of the two you played. I was really bad at Super Hypercube, so I didn't get to play it very long. The demo only lasts as long as you last in the game. I
Yeah, two
died.
lives.
I died fairly quickly because I was just bad at it. I think I scored like 45 points or something like that. And I know that the guy said that the high score was like up in the 400 or 500s or something around there.
The guys at my demo said that I was the best they'd seen.
How much did you score?
I don't remember the score number because I was just freaking out. Then I tried VR, so it was the first thing I did. So I don't remember my numbers. I got pretty darn far.
The guy who was doing my demo said that some kid had come in the day before and was like a savant at the thing, and he'd seen the demo a couple times before, and the furthest he'd ever seen people get was after multiple tries, like maybe 4 or 5 tries, and they get very far. He said this kid put the thing on and got like incredibly far in the game on his first try, and he was just kind of
Super Hypercube is the demo doesn't have a time limit. It's only the 2 lives.
Yeah.
So if you can keep going, you will just keep playing the game.
Yeah, and so he was just he said he was just standing there kind of in awe because he had never seen anybody do that well, and it was the first time he'd ever put the PlayStation VR on his head, so it was kind of a shock.
He got the 3D puzzle game pretty quick.
So let's talk about. We may as well just talk about Super Hypercube. What did you think about it? All in all, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. It's a little bit like Tetris. It's like a 3D Tetris of sorts. You got to fit a cube into a hole.
The way I've been explaining it to people is you start out with a single cube and you're in a long tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel is a hole, and you have to fit the cube through the hole. First part is very easy because it's the same shape. Once you go through the hole, it adds more cubes to it, and you start getting a 3D tetranome shape, and it starts getting really weird and really big.
And you can adjust the cube on its X and Y axis, so you're spinning it.
So you're rotating
the
cube. Yeah, you rotate the cube to make it fit in the 2D hole at the end of the hallway. The catch is, and why it's in VR, is you can't see the hole at the end of the hallway. The cube is blocking you. So you have to look around the cube to see the shape of the hole and then adjust it.
Pretty cool. That was the coolest thing to me, was peeking around.
I was like, in the first couple of parts, I was like, I can't see this. I can't see it anymore. So how do I look at it? Oh, I move my head.
Yeah.
And I move, you move, and that clicked for me. It was really cool. I got very, very into it. There was one point where the hole at the end of the tunnel started rotating in a counterclockwise way. So then you had to adjust the cube for the rotation. And I audibly was like, no. I was like, oh, no. This game was so cool, and everything. I just felt this natural progression of getting better and better in this game because I've never played a game that way before. And I wanted to play again right away. But the line at my particular Best Buy was when we left, it was about 15 to 20 people long. I heard when I came back the second day, it got so long they had to cut the line off because they weren't going to be able to fit everyone through the demo.
See, you went
4 people in his line.
You went 2 separate days. I could have kept hopping back in line.
I would have.
I'm content with waiting until October now. I've got my little taste of it. It was sweet. I will wait until the finished product is on my doorstep in October. Because I just basically wanted to get a feel for what it was like and see how I liked it. I knew I would like it. That was the thing going into it. I didn't really have any doubts about it. My favorite thing about not my favorite thing necessarily, but one of the things about Super Hypercube demo that I really liked is that, so you're holding the controller in your hands and making the cube move as you look around and try to figure out what's down the hallway. But if you look, so you're holding it in your hands. If you look down to where your hands should be, the outline of the controller is right there. And if you move the sticks or press the buttons, you can see those actions take place in this virtual reality space where there's like a virtual reality mock-up of your controller.
It's right where you would think your controller would
And
be
it's
in real life.
right
It's
exactly where you
cool.
think it would be. So
The
that's
light bar,
that was
the
really
light
cool
bar
to
is
me.
worth it now.
Yeah, so the light bar finally has a purpose. That was one of the things that sort of blew my mind about that was I naturally looked down to look at my controller, and what do you know? It's right there in front of my face. So
I'm curious, do you have any of the stickers on your light bars?
I don't know.
I have one on one of them. I have the Atlas logo
Okay, yeah, from
from Portal.
yeah,
Um, so it's just like a circle basically on the back of my controller. So I'm curious if that's going to affect the usefulness of my controller. Obviously, I still have one that's clean, so like I don't have to peel it off. I just use one controller for VR.
yeah. I think
But
you should be fine. Like I feel like that's probably something they've taken into account ahead of time. Not that they
because even Sony
necessarily
promotes those stickers now.
they do promote the
Those
sticker.
stickers, I've seen them tweet them out in packages and rewards and things. This
Okay.
whoever thought of those stickers is a bajillionaire now.
Yeah.
Um, Super Hypercube and like you launches you said Super Hypercube. The demo was, and I was like, I'm gonna give this game a shot. I liked it. The Hypercube.
Okay.
Oh
So
goodness.
yeah, so you just dropped to nothing. I heard bits and pieces of what you were saying. For the MP3 listeners, you should be good with that whole last piece.
Okay.
Yeah, for the video, just turn your camera off. I think it'd be better served, honestly. We'll just get to see your avatar the rest of the video, but that's fine. It's a podcast. They don't need to see our faces.
My
But
selfie with the PS4.
your selfie with the PS4, it fits with what we're talking about. So you'll be
All
good.
right.
Um,
Well, I apologize. It's a new internet, so it's a
no,
whole new beast to tackle.
you're good. MP3 should sound fine when I splice it together. So yeah, I heard bits and pieces of what you were saying there. I didn't hear anything cohesive, but yeah, I may as
Super
well just
Hypercube, Super Hypercube is great.
yeah, it was cool. It's definitely something I'm going to purchase when I get PlayStation VR later this year. I'm very much looking forward to it. I am going to buy a stupid amount of PlayStation VR games, and I told you this the other day. I had the inkling and I had the feeling that I would be buying PlayStation VR games when they came out. I'm sold. I'm already starting to make down payments on my headset. I cannot wait until it's finally at my house because I'm going to download so many of those stupid day one games that are just demos. But I really want to get in the weeds with this thing and see all that it
I'm
has to offer. I'm
I get
incredibly excited about this.
it's gonna be so cool. Do you want to tell them what you thought about Eve?
Yeah, so Eve was interesting. Eve was the first one I played, and I had a big old dumb grin on my face as soon as it started up, and I started looking around the cockpit. And as soon as they blast you out into space, and you're looking around at the ships that are around you and things like that, had a big old grin on my face. The augmented part of it was the coolest part, where you've got how the way that they set up the cockpit. Until you try VR, and everybody has said this, and now I think we're going to say this too. Until you try VR, you can't understand VR. I mean, you can get an image in your head, but I did not know
Well,
what this was
even
actually going to look like until I tried it. And
it's I mean, we said that back when I tried the Vive for the first time, and
yeah,
also if you're standing in line for the PSVR demo, because of the processor box, what you see is on the TV screen, and it's completely. You can watch someone play E Valkyrie, but it's not the same until you put the
no,
headset on,
no.
because you were immersed in a digital 360 degrees, space, and what it's being translated to the TV is just a 2D image.
Yeah, there's depth in the VR. Like you can see how far things are away from you, like in what looks to be real space compared to seen it on TV where, like you said, it's just 2D. The craziest thing was when you look down and you start looking at what's around you, you can see your legs where your legs are supposed to be. I mean, obviously it's not tracking your legs or anything, but your legs are in that general position. You can see your legs, you can see your chest, you can see your arms, and they're giving you the impression that, yeah, you're the one in this ship. But if you look down, that's what you're seeing, what's not your body, but it's obviously supposed to be your body. And that was when that happened, when I looked down and noticed my body and noticed the cockpit and the things immediately around me was what blew my mind the most. That was a very cool moment, and I had a very large smile on my face because I finally understood how this worked. The game itself was fine. I think the demo they gave us was not very telling of what the game as a whole is, or maybe it is very telling of what the game as a whole is. Maybe it's just very simplistic like that. I don't know. Did you think anything special about the demo itself?
Short.
Yeah, it was short. It was only like
short.
5 or 6 minutes.
I had trouble with the controls.
I did
because
too. They were inverted for one.
In my brain was thinking first person shooter, and I kept using my right stick.
Yeah. Yep. I did the same thing.
My camera, and that is not how it works at all in VR. You are the camera. I started figuring out toward the end of my demo, but the controls are definitely something you have to get used to, and also you can't like sit there and customize them.
Yeah. They also don't really tell you what the controls are at first. You just kind of had, like, I didn't figure out the X was boost until a couple minutes into the demo, things like that. So you just kind of got to play around with everything.
I played around, so I knew it right. Like I played around right away, so I figured that stuff out. It was cool to fly a spaceship.
Yeah,
it was cool to shoot
for
things. Sure. But it's very, very shoot. Even though you could like fly around this semi-open space, it felt very much like an on-rails demo. Like you couldn't do very much. But that got me very, very excited for the possibility. It's not even a rumor, it's just speculation and hopes and dreams that No Man's Sky comes to VR. And I think that is a game I would play in VR.
That was what I had a friend ask me after I told him I had played Eve Valkyrie. He's like, well, No Man's Sky is coming to VR, isn't it? That should be really cool. And I'm like, oh, I wish it was coming to VR. Everybody wants that game to come to VR, and just still nothing from Hello Games. They're a very small studio, and that game's been in development for years before I think the advent of PlayStation VR was this big. I
think that game will come to VR.
In time, I can see it happening for sure. It may not be till like 2017 at some point, honestly. Like I could see maybe a PSX announcement or something like that. Like what you've all wanted is finally happening. The game is coming to PlayStation VR. It'll release in spring 2017 or something like that. Because I don't think it's just something they patch a month or two after release. That's a big hard thing to do for them. So it's going to take some time. I would love it though.
I think it comes sooner than you think.
Really? Even though they've been 100% adamant that it's nothing they've had time to work on.
I think Sony's been helping them out.
We'll have to
I think Sony wants to have a big game like that close to their VR launch.
We'll see. I mean, they've definitely got a bunch of games coming out. I think 50 or 60 before year's end.
50 before the year's end.
And then it looks like
one of them is No Man's Sky.
You think before the end of the year?
Mm-hmm.
I would bet you on that, but I don't know what we would be betting on.
Mm.
I would love it. I would seriously love it, but
you just don't think
I think it'd be very hard to do in a procedurally generated game, and it's going to take a lot more time than you would think. So I'm not sure. But I hope it happens at some point. Hopefully. Yeah, Eve was cool. I'm interested to see what it looks like to fly something I'm familiar with, like an X-Wing. So when the Battlefront VR X-Wing mission comes out, I will be all over that. And I told you I'll play that every night before I go to bed or something like that, so that I can have dreams outside of my head before I sleep. I don't know. I've always wanted to fly an X-Wing. So that's finally going to happen. Yeah, I'm excited. This whole thing, Are you more excited for VR now that we've tried this?
I am. The Vive made me a believer in the VR technology, but trying out the actual unit I'm going to be purchasing made me
Yeah.
feel very, very comfortable in my purchase this October.
Yeah, I would have
I'm
to mirror that sentiment. Like I
I'm
already knew I was
100%.
buying it, so now that I've actually played it, it makes me feel like my purchase is warranted. And even if I was gonna buy this either way. So I mean, I guess if I despised it and it made me barf all over the place, I may have thought some things through
Yeah, there
again.
was no
But
motion sickness, man.
I felt
Even
fine.
yeah,
I know some people mentioned not feeling too hot afterwards, but I think it's just a personal
Abby
thing more than anything.
on the second day, Abby tried out the tank game Battle Zone, and she didn't feel too hot afterward. She said she felt a little motion sickness. But she gets car sick as well, like so she's a little more prone to it.
Yeah.
Um, she was gonna try Eve Valkyrie, but I played that first, and after I had trouble with the controls, I didn't think she'd have a very good time with it.
Yeah. No, that's a good call.
So she chose the tank game. No one's played that soccer game. I kind of wanted her to try that one just so I could see what it was,
I
but
don't think anybody
no.
played it in mine either. There was like some weird soccer or ball game that was played before the underwater demo, wasn't there? Or is that something else I'm thinking of?
There were 5 demos. There's the underwater one, which Abby and my dad did. Then there's the tank game, Battlezone, Eve Valkyrie, Super Hypercube, and then some soccer game
I
where
feel
you
like I saw like a
you
soccer
hit.
game or a ball game being played before every underwater demo that happened. Everybody who elected to play the underwater game played some like mini game while it was loading up or something
Oh,
like that. Do you know
I
what I'm talking about? Or
no, I
maybe I
didn't see
was
that at
just not
all.
paying
The
attention.
loading, no, I paid total attention. Like when the loading up for the shark, they went into VR worlds, then they
Okay.
picked the underwater demo, and then they went underwater. Like there was nothing in between that on my end.
Yeah. I had a bunch of people asking if they could do the London Heist demo, but they sadly
Best
couldn't because
Buy,
it's rated M and they cuss a whole bunch in that game. And
yeah,
Best Buy is
Best
a family
Buy corporate
store.
said no.
Yeah, that sucks because I've heard that that one's the best one. I didn't want to try. I saw the VR one. I saw the underwater VR one played in front of me, and it was more of just
It's an experience than a
it's an
game.
experience more than a game. So I actually wanted to try something out that had gameplay elements to it, so I could wrap my head around that. Uh, so I
Maybe
was happy with
GameStop
it.
locations let you do the heist.
Yeah, but they're only there on like Saturdays, I think.
Yeah, but I mean,
They don't
if a
have as much of a
GameStop lets
schedule.
me play London Heist, I'll go to the GameStop.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. The one that the GameStop near me that is doing the London Heist, I think, is like,
Oh, GameStop
like
is doing London Heist?
well, the one where I know that they're going to the GameStop I know that they're taking the VR headset to is like 45, 50 minutes away from me. So I don't know if I feel like driving out there for that, especially
But
if I'm
like
gonna go.
Best Buy as a corporation will let you do the London Heist.
No, they won't. Best Buy or
GameStop. GameStop.
GameStop. Yeah, GameStop will.
Oh, snap. All right. Well,
Our
sounds like I have plans
representative
this
said
weekend.
come join us at the GameStop next time we go to it and you can try out London Heist. Which would be
Okay.
interesting because you'd probably get to use the move wands as well, which
You
is
do,
the
because they
one
bring
thing
the move wands with them.
that's what I wanted to try out the most. And that's what I was disappointed about was that there wasn't any demos at the Best Buy where you could try out the wands
Mm-hmm.
because I don't own any. I want to see if it's worth my time to buy them beforehand. I've got the camera. I've
Honestly,
got
it
the
honestly
headset
sounds like a lot of games are going to use the regular controller,
That's what I'm thinking at this point as well.
but they're super cheap right now. They're like $20 a pop.
Yeah. I may just bite the bullet and buy a couple.
You just need to.
Yeah, just two. Do we need any of the pickles?
No.
Or whatever they're called?
No, none of the wireless nunchucks, I don't believe.
Wireless nunchuck pickles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm so
VR was a hoot, dude.
yeah, we've both talked about it for it's probably since episode 1 or close to it on this show about what used to be Morpheus and the Oculus and the Vive and just I feel like one through line through this show from episode 1 has been VR. And now we finally tried it and probably by episode close to 60, 65 around there we'll have it in our homes finally. So, we're getting close. It's only a couple months away. I mentioned it to my dad the other day that it comes out in October, and he's like, "Oh, that's so far away." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? That's very close. We waited for this for so long, and it's just a couple months. July, August, and September, and then
September, October.
yeah, about 3.5 months because it comes out midway through October. So it's very close. I'm very excited for it. You keep yawning. I'm gonna drive
I'm
down to
seriously, I
Florida.
don't know why.
I'm gonna drive down to Florida and give you one of those
I
what
don't.
adrenaline shots like in Pulp Fiction.
What is
Stab you in the
this?
chest with that.
There's a chocolate bunny. I there's some food nearby. Maybe I'm hungry, but I had lunch. Some mac and cheese.
That's you got a bunch of starches on board. You're getting a little sleepy. Got the cheeses
Maybe it was
weighing
a
down your
lot.
stomach.
Possibly, quite possibly. You ready to switch over?
Yeah, I think we're gonna switch over. So VR, PlayStation VR specifically. It's real cool. Very excited for it. I'm sure we will talk about it more and more and more as we get closer to the October release date, October 13th release date. But for now, we're going to take a break like we always do every week. Next, coming up, as I mentioned before, week 5 of our favorite games of all time segment. We are at the current gen consoles: PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Wii U, 3DS, and PlayStation Vita. We are going to count down our top 10 favorite games from all of those systems when we get back from the break in just a moment. Cool. Yeah, it sucks your video is not really working, but oh well.
Internet's slow.
Hey, all 3 viewers. You're gonna hate my list. I know you're gonna hate my list. Again, it's all opinionated, but you're gonna be shocked. Well, I don't know about shocked, but you're gonna not
Are you just
love.
I feel like you're almost making this list to upset me. How can it upset me?
Because I know you hate well, not necessarily. Well, I know you do hate a couple of the games on my list, and then a couple of them you're just very apathetic towards. So
I know Battlefront's going to be on there. I assume Fallout 4 is going to be on there.
maybe.
I really don't know much Xbox you play. I don't think Halo 5's on there. I don't think you cared for that one too much. I mean, it could be on there, but we both liked Halo 5.
Multiplayer was dope.
I really don't see how I'm going to hate it, so I'm actually really curious to see if I will hate it.
You're going to take. You won't hate. You'll take issue with where I've slotted 2 things. You'll hate one. One you'll be indifferent towards, and my number 1's going to shock you. Well,
All
maybe
right,
not
so
shock you.
one I'll be indifferent towards, one will shock me, and one I will be upset about.
I think you'll be upset about it. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll get into it here in a minute.
Let me have one last bite of this Chex Mix. Hopefully, I won't yawn.
Hopefully, you wake up and quit yawning into the microphone like a heathen.
I know. I really sometimes I'm not even thinking about it because normally I do try to pull away when I yawn or am making a noise, and I really don't know where all these yawns are coming from. But we'll dive into the list, okay?
Okay, cool. A bunch of these, I'm thinking we won't talk about these as much as we normally have because a bunch of these games are games that we've talked about very often over the show's history because it's things we've been currently playing at some time or another, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I will, if you're still watching the video at this point, sorry about all the difficulties we've had. It's just been a mess. MP3 should be fine though. If you feel like listening back to the show instead of watching the YouTube, the MP3 is probably going to sound much better. So I'll splice it up. I may even throw in a quick split and be like, we had some issues here. So excuse the spliced up nature of the next minute or so. I'll figure it out. I'll go in there tonight. Yeah, I'll try to edit tonight, and then I may throw it up tonight as well. I know we've been putting them up on Wednesdays, but
Wednesday might be a good.
I'm gonna be. We usually put them up around midday on Wednesday, and I'm not gonna have any chance to put it up until 6 o'clock tomorrow night.
Makes sense
with you.
No, that's not a problem. That's all good.
So I may try to
All
edit
right.
it here, but
I am.
yeah, I can try to edit it before I actually go to work because I've got like 2 hours before I need to leave, so I should be fine.
All right. I'm all ready.
I think I'm good on peeing. Hopefully, coffee doesn't attack me. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anywho, let's get
Okay.
going. Let me jot down our time code. Cool. Let's go.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to episode 47 of Millennial Gaming Speak. So, it's our final week. We've done a 6-week segment, or it's not our final week. It's
not our final week. No.
Close to our final week. We're doing a 6-week
Penultimate
segment.
week.
It's the penultimate week. Good use of that word. I like that word.
It is my favorite word.
What's your favorite word? My favorite word's pamplemousse. It's French for grapefruit.
I like that. That's good. I love grapefruit.
Pamplemousse.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our penultimate week. This is our 5th week of a 6-week segment where we've been counting down our top 10 favorite games of all time. We've been counting them down by console generation first, though, and then next week. So this week we're at current gen. So as I said twice in the show already, PS4, Xbox One, Wii U, 3DS, and PS Vita. So we're going to count down our top 10 collective favorite games from all of those consoles. Next week's going to be our favorite games of all time. So join us on that. If you're curious, me and Max have thoroughly looked over our list. We have counted them down by console generation so that we can get a better idea and make sure that we don't miss anything that we may overlook if we were to just make a knee-jerk reaction list and say, this is my favorite game ever. So we've gone through all the generations now. We've thoroughly exhausted and made sure that we know what our favorites are. And next week, we're going to count them down 10 to 1. So join us next week. That should be a good episode. But until then, it's current gen. What's our favorite current gen games? We've been in this generation for about 2.5, 3 years at this point. So,
Two, yeah, Wii U and
going on
3DS,
about 3 years. Yeah. So, Max, I wanted to say this before we jump into our list. When I made my list, I realized I haven't cared for this generation that much so far. What do you think?
I love the games we've been getting.
I like them, but I was actually talking to Kevin about this earlier, and I don't know if he's watching right now live on YouTube, but I was actually talking to him earlier about how there's been a bunch of good games this generation, but I don't know if there's been any that I would say have been good enough to be in my favorite of all time. And I know obviously you have a big one that we're going to get to later on that I know will be in your list, but I got to be honest, even my number 1 on this list, I don't know if it's going to make my overall top 10 next week. That's kind of where I'm at with this generation so far. Yeah, I don't know. I like a lot of things we've been getting, but
a big probable part with that is this is still the early years of this generation.
That's very true. Yeah.
Or at the very least, we could be at halfway, a little before halfway. And, the other generations, especially further back, have had a lot of time to marinate.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think the other thing that I've noticed now that we're almost 3 years in, is that there hasn't been that leap. There hasn't been that marquee
not till October
that I feel like has been the difference maker and has shown that this is the difference between last gen and this gen. I mean, obviously, there's going to be one big game that I think we'll talk about that you're going to say this is the next gen game. And while I agree with you of sorts, you know what I'm talking about. I won't say it. We'll get
Destiny?
into it later. No, it's going to be your number 1. Your number 1
Destiny?
game, I feel like you're going to say no, it's not Destiny. There's been a bunch of great games this generation.
Taken amazing.
No,
Rise of Iron.
No more Taken King.
Choo.
But yeah, I don't know. There just hasn't been any standout titles to me this gen. I don't feel like there's been any. I don't know. Yeah, I'm beating a horse to death right now talking about this. But yeah, I don't know. Okay. Even my number 1 this week, I don't know if it's going to be on next week's. So I'm going to have to look it over.
Weird.
I'm going to have to compose my list. I'm not weird. I just have played a whole bunch of games.
It's your turn this week, right?
Is it my turn? I was about to ask you the same thing. Last week's our number 1s were I went. I finished last week, so that means you went first. So yeah, it is me this week, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
If I finished last week, then I went second last week. Yeah. Okay. So honorable mentions, of course. I've got a couple. I'm not going to mention all the ones I wrote down. I'll mention a couple of the smaller ones though. Velocity on Vita, fantastic game. I love Velocity. That almost cracked my top 10. Super Smash Bros. Wii U. I've listed 2 Super Smash Bros. Games in the past 2 weeks. Decided not to put Wii U up there this week. I think it's one of the best Smash games. I haven't played it as much as the other ones though. I don't know why.
But you're a scrub.
Yeah, I guess I'm a scrub. No, I just think Wii U's aren't as like all of my friends used to have Wii, so and no matter whose house I went to, everyone had Smash, and I'm the only person I know who has Smash Bros on Wii U. So everybody has to come over to my house. Yeah, locally. I'm the only person who owns the game, and people come over to my house and play it. And we're all in college now, me and all my friends. So I only see them a couple months out of the year. So it's just not been as much of a party game as previous Smash Brothers have been. Also, shout out to NBA 2K15. I almost put that on my list. I guarantee you I played 150 hours of that game, maybe.
Goodness gracious. How do people do that?
I'm dead serious. Every weeknight for months, I would have friends come over and play a couple games.
Basketball. I don't get it.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way
what's a sport? Down the court. Sports ball.
And I also want to give a shout out to Overwatch. I almost put Overwatch on my list. I really
very recent.
Yeah, very recent game. I thought about that one quite a bit, but it did not make my list. Need some more time with it. I want to stew on it a little bit more before I maybe put it in my top 10.
I almost put Lego Star Wars Episode 7 in my list, but seeing as it's no, I'm totally kidding. Oh my gosh.
It showed up on my door. It showed up on my door.
It showed up on my door. Its presence alone, number 1. My honorable mentions: Persona 4 Golden. Only reason I put it there now is because I haven't beaten it, but I enjoy the game very, very much, and I see why it is a must-own game for Vita. So I love it. It's great. I also put Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance on the 3DS. It's just refined some of the mechanics from Birth by Sleep. Had a really good story that pushed us forward toward Kingdom Hearts 3, and the flow, I think it's called flow motion system, where you can like run and dash and slide and grind around, is very, very cool mechanic in the world. I also put Danganronpa on Vita, which is
that.
Yeah, Danganronpa is, if you love the Phoenix Wright games at all, which I talked about 2 weeks ago, or 1 week ago. They're great. It's this teenage murder mystery game. Great story, fun characters. Everything's so cool about it. And then the last honorable mention I put on there was PT, because PT is a great use of assets, really sets a great tone. It heavily, heavily inspired the Resident Evil demo we got this year.
I still need to play that. I'm going to actually play it now. I know I talked about maybe skipping it, but I am going to play it. I'm waiting. I don't know what I'm waiting for.
Don't wait for it. You play it tonight when it's all dark after work.
I'm waiting for a dark and stormy night.
Oh my goodness. Just don't do it on a stormy night because the power might go out. But I put PT on there because PT really is kind of this game internet phenomena. It appeared and then unfortunately disappeared, and people still talk about it to this day. And that's the kind of impact it left. Very, very cool game. Very, very, I mean, I would consider it a game, not a demo or a playable teaser. It is a very well-made game.
Yeah, I agree with you. Also shout out to, I don't think you're going to put it on your list, so I'll mention it now. I'm trying not to mention games I think you may talk about. Halo 5, it was a solid game. I love the multiplayer. Campaign was very good. Besides that, though, I really enjoy the multiplayer, and it brought me back to Halo Reach in some ways, back when I used to play that with a bunch of my friends every night. So for about a month or two, I was playing a ton of Halo Reach, or Halo 5. Sorry. Yeah. And
can't believe you would talk about my number 1 game like that.
Halo 5? Yeah, I'm sure that's your number 1 game.
Lock for life.
Yeah, let's get into the actual list, though. Not go on forever about honorable mentions like we have in some of the other weeks. My number 10, Max, is actually from the developer of the new Spider-Man game. Insomniac Games. Sunset Overdrive is my number 10.
I was looking at that on my shelf. It's a great game.
fantastic game. Typical Insomniac, bunch of great weapons. They're all very crazy, very unique. I love the world. I loved how self-aware it was that it was a video game.
See, that's the point a lot of people they're either for or against, because I enjoy it. I love how loud and obnoxious and self-aware that game is, but it
That's the
also is
tone
a
it was
turn
going
off.
for, and it nailed
Yeah.
it. So.
It's a turn off for some people, but I definitely thoroughly enjoyed that.
Did you ever beat it by chance?
No.
Did it? There's
I
a
don't
couple
know.
good moments near the end of the game that I really enjoyed, where it's the fact that it is self-aware of being a video game comes out even more in the last like 2 hours.
Yeah, I love it.
And I really, really like that game a lot. The traversal is great. Again, the weapons are awesome. I like the punk rock style attitude it has to it. It's a fun, goofy game. And Insomniac makes great, just dumb games. And I mean that in a
Usually, yeah.
I mean that in a very loving way. Usually, yeah. Resistance is a little bit more serious, but even Ratchet and Clank is kind of dorky to a degree. So Sunset Overdrive, yeah, great game. If you have an Xbox One, cop it.
It
You
was
haven't already.
It was free games with gold just a month or two ago.
About 2 months back, yeah. So if you haven't grabbed it, I still say you should grab it.
It's super cheap. It's like 10, 15 bucks.
Or $15 at this point. Yep. So Sunset Overdrive, like it a lot.
My number 10. Tales from the Borderlands.
Tales from the Borderlands.
Tales from the Borderlands.
Game we've talked about a time or two.
We have. Just for some full disclosure, I did write the guide for this game for IGN, so so everyone knows I did that. But so they provided me the game, but that doesn't influence my decision whatsoever.
I think it has. IGN's paid you off to put that number 10 in
to
this
put it on
list,
the lowest
list
slot.
that doesn't make sense. Yeah.
But Tales from the Borderlands, I believe, is the pinnacle of the Telltale game formula. I absolutely love the dual protagonist. I love how this game is actually colorful and vibrant and has life kind of flowing through it. Don't get me wrong, I love The Walking Dead. The Wolf Among Us, I think, nails some color and tone but it's still a little more dire. There aren't as many funny moments, and I think Tales from the Borderlands has that.
The stakes aren't as high in Tales from the Borderlands. They are, but they aren't at the same time. And
there's no murder, all that stuff. It's a give or take, but I think they nailed the Borderlands world very well, especially coming from someone who didn't particularly care too much about 1 and 2. I played 1 and enjoyed it, but I'm not a rabid fan or anything. I think the choice system's very great. I love the way you can assemble a team in the end based off your choices. I think that's a really cool way to pay off, and I love the way you do different things in narratives, and the game has a killer soundtrack. Like the songs they would play in the intros and outros are fantastic.
Yeah, one of my favorite parts of the game is when you go into space and that whole intro with Scooter.
Oh my gosh,
that's a great moment in the game.
It's so good. I think it's the best. It was like $4.50 on PS4 just last week. That sale's gone though. Unfortunately, it is my favorite Telltale game, and I'm very curious to see how it's influenced Batman, because Batman apparently has decisions you make as Bruce and decisions you make as Batman. It actually sounds like they're moving toward dual protagonist in almost everything now, because apparently Walking Dead Season 3 has it.
Curious to see what Game of Thrones Season 2 has.
Have they announced Season 2?
Yeah, it's coming. The first one ended on a cliffhanger. I was one of the people who actually really enjoyed Game of Thrones.
I just never had a chance to play it. Like, I played the first episode and really enjoyed the way it ended, the first episode, but I never went back.
It's pretty solid. Like, they nail the tone of Game of Thrones as far as like it feels like it belongs in that world, and I thought that was going to be one of the hardest things to do. And the way that they associate characters from the show, it makes sense why they would be in these situations and why these characters that we know so well would show up in these situations. So I like Game of Thrones a lot. Tales from the Borderlands I enjoyed too. I just beat that recently. I don't know. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, how I feel like I'm getting a little bit burnt with Telltale, but I'm hoping Batman does do something different, like you said.
Batman's going to be great. Number 9 for you.
Number 9, Max, you nailed it before we started the show. PT. I put PT on my list. I thought that would take you
I
back
knew you
because
wouldn't. I didn't know you would put that on your list.
I didn't think a bunch of people would think of it. And when I think of experiences this generation, that's one of the best ones. And even though I jumped on the PT bandwagon very late. I downloaded it, I think, a couple days before they ever pulled it off the store. And I liked it so much that I now refuse to ever get rid of my PlayStation 4 because of that.
You have the rare ticket, man. I thought because I'd purchased it before I could just download it again. I
Yeah.
actually didn't even know it was off my console. I clearly deleted it for space, but I'm so bummed that I will never be able to play PT again.
Yeah, and that's part. I got to be honest. I think part of the reason why it is on my list is because of that allure of mystery, and it's forever gone. We're never going to see it again. It's it's gone. If you didn't get it, you're not going to be able to get it again unless you buy a PS4 off of eBay or something that has it pre-installed. The game is gone. As far as we know, it's never coming back, and that kind of shroud of strangeness and mystery around the game is probably what put it on my list in a weird way. The game itself, though, is still incredibly creepy. Try playing it late at night and while you're alone in your house with headphones on, and you'll cry. I love how many different things that the game does. I love how many different areas that the woman shows up in, and you can try to spot her out. Like after I played through it initially the first time, I went back through it again and tried to spot all the little things that you can pick up on. I like the story that it's kind of trying to tell there very much. It sucks that Silent Hills again never became a thing. I think that's something everybody has talked ad nauseum about who loves video games. Silent Hills is going to be something we forever wish we could have got, but it's just never going to happen. It seems like PT is great though. The PT is incredibly creepy, and the puzzles are strange.
Yeah.
But I mean, so I needed to consult the internet to get
Ring
through
the
the last
phone,
one
touch
specifically.
the sink, listen to a baby cry.
Take 3 steps backwards after the baby cries, like just weird stuff like that that you would never be able to figure out on your
And
own.
also, it's such a Kojima thing to do too.
It is, and that's partially why the reason why I like it is because it has his
Kojima,
fingerprints all over it. It's just
his
being so strange.
grimy fingerprints. It's great.
So
It's a wonderful game.
yeah, I love it. I'm glad I have it. I actually had this is funny. I brought this up. No joke. I just remembered the dream I had last night where some little boy was trying to buy my PS4 off of me, and I was about to sell it to him, and then I realized, no, I have PT on this, and I took it back from him. That was legitimately a dream I had last night.
Wow.
So
So
I'm very odd with what I dream
you
about.
love your PT.
I love
You
my
love
PT.
your PT.
What's your number 9, Max?
Number 9, which I think is kind of silly now given the game's name, is Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 did not make the 8th slot.
You could have just pushed it up one slot.
I couldn't do that. Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8, I think, is the tightest Mario Kart game to date. I think only as far as personal preference goes does it fall one slot behind Double Dash, but it's the tightest, it's the fastest. It's the game that made me believe in, well, not believe, I knew they were there, but like tell the difference between 30 and 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
Because if you do 3 or more players, it drops down to 30. And after you play so much of it single player, like that drop in half the frame rate is a little shocking at first. So I love that game for that too. But it's so pretty. The courses are great. The zero gravity is a great addition. The characters are awesome. It was an example of Nintendo doing DLC right. They more than doubled the game size with 4 more cups.
With the DLC?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking? Yeah, I think it was
4 more cups.
Yeah, that sounds right in my head at least.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Plus they had a Link and the Villager. And
16 more tracks, man. That's like half the game right there. It's a wonderful, wonderful game. I think it's one of the prettiest games of this generation.
I was gonna say, I think it's the prettiest Wii game or Wii U game by a mile.
Yeah, there are some with art styles though. I think that look better.
Like give me one.
I think Breath of the Wild looks incredibly
I
good.
haven't seen. Yeah, I haven't seen
Rainbow
it.
Curse is another one. Like those, but those games have art styles.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they're using, since the Wii U isn't as powerful as PS4, Xbox One. They put all that juice into like these charming and adorable and perfect art styles. I think Tropical Freeze is also another like fantastic looking Wii U
I
game.
haven't seen that one up close.
Ooh, ooh, Donkey Kong's first swaying in the wind. It's amazing. But back to Mario Kart 8, I think it's one of the best. It
Can't forget
also,
the Luigi Death Stare.
it
Um,
also introduced non Mario characters to the game. So I would not be too surprised if the next Mario Kart was called Nintendo Kart, or like maybe it's called Mario Kart just
They
for better
probably keep calling
recognition.
Mario Kart, yeah, just because of
But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw characters like Link off the bat.
our Solid Snake.
Yeah, well, no, that would be actually quite shocking.
Solid Snake and Pac-Man and all of the characters from Smash all of
Hey,
a
you
sudden
can
go into
get the
Mario Kart.
Pac-Man Me outfit through Amiibo.
That's true. I didn't think of that.
hmm But Mario Kart 8, I love it. It's a great game. I
Mario
flew to New
Kart's
York. I flew to New York to pick this
Yeah,
game
I
up.
forgot about
So
that. You did mention that the other week. Yeah, Mario Kart's solid. It's probably like you said, it's probably the tightest Mario Kart game. Not on my list. I have not played much of that game at all, even though I own it. It's one of the few Wii U games that I do actually own. Again, just haven't played very much of it. Similar to Smash on Wii U. Just don't have a ton of friends
just gotta
who
sit
are.
down and you just cozy right on in and play it.
Yeah, I know, but that's a good party game.
Oh,
That's a
and
game I've
200
always liked to play. The
cc.
party game.
200 cc is
Forgot about 200cc. Yeah, that was
insane.
nuts. Mario Kart's good.
Your
Mario Kart's a
standard
very
now.
good game. All right, my number 8 game that I've talked a lot about on this show, and I won't beat it to death.
Destiny.
No, Star Wars Battlefront is my number 8.
I'm
Very fun
surprised.
game.
That one, is that the one you thought I'd be surprised at how low you
No,
put it? Oh,
no,
because I'm surprised. I thought that would be much higher for you.
really.
Because you love that game.
I loved it.
You
Yeah, it's one of
platinum that game.
I did platinum that game. It's one of my favorite multiplayer games that's come out in years. I've put 75, maybe more than that, hours into it at this point. One of my favorite Star Wars games ever. I adore Star Wars. And it came out in such a perfect time where we were so ready for episode 7, and there was a month left until it came out. And all I was doing before episode 7 came out was playing this game constantly. And it's gorgeous. It's fun. I think it's more balanced than people give it credit for, honestly, especially since the updates have come out. In the end, though, I'm just a massive Star Wars fan, and I love seeing these locations realized in such beauty. And it's just a lot of fun. That was the thing I harped on constantly last year when we did our 2015 Game of the Year episode. Was it's just fun. It's not necessarily the best game that's come out this year, but it's one of the games I've had the most fun with this
That's what's
generation.
important, dude.
And so yeah, exactly. Because if I was to review the game, I'd give it mid-7s, maybe
You'd give it
something
a
close
10
to
out
an
of
8.
10. Would play again.
Yeah. So I know its shortcomings, but I look past them because I always have a great time whenever I sit down to play it. So Star Wars Battlefront, my number 8.
Okay. My number 8, Batman Arkham Knight.
Interesting. I'll say up front, this one didn't make my list.
Okay.
I thought about it though.
I think it's a gorgeous game. When this game launched, they said beforehand there were no load times in the game. Like after the initial load, like once you're in the game, there's no more load times. I did not believe that. I was like, there's no way. And then the game came out and there was not a single load time, and all that rain and the effects. Like I think to date, this is the best comic character video game ever made. I love the open world. I love chasing around bad guys around Gotham. I love the story. I think it's the best Batman story in the games. I know last week we talked about Arkham City and how you as a comic book fan were freaking out during Arkham City. And I love Arkham City story too. And I never thought they'd be able to top it, but I thought the way they used villains in this particular game was fantastic. And I think if you guys want to hear more of our thoughts on Arkham Knight specifically, we do have an Arkham Knight episode where we did a review discussion of the game. And the first half spoiler free, and the second half we dive into spoilers. But I absolutely love Arkham Knight, and I'm close to the platinum. I just have to like play through it again and finish some AR challenges. So I don't have much, I just basically have to play the game again.
Yeah.
But it's such a good game.
So it is your favorite Arkham game, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I platinum the game. I love it. We've has good plug max. We do have an entire like 90-minute long episode
Plug.
we posted it I think last June, late June or July. So just scroll through our
after the game came out.
Yeah, just scroll through our feed and you can find it there. Around this time last year. It's a great game. I really do like it a lot. The story is great. I don't think it's as good as Arkham City personally. I just like some of the villains they used in Arkham City a little bit more. Yeah, it's a great game. Got the plat, fun. I do think they shoehorned the Batmobile a little bit too much into it, and that was way more
like how you just
said
you can see over Battlefront's shortcomings.
Yeah,
I kind of push that to the side because the tank stuff is used way too much, and it robs you of some boss battles.
So I did replay it because I had to get the platinum, and when I was replaying it the second time, how much they force you to use the Batmobile was way more apparent to me, and it really wore on me as I tried to finish my second playthrough. And
I can imagine because you did it right one after.
I did it back to back. Yeah, I didn't stop. So by the time I had reached the end of my second playthrough, I was like, okay, yeah, that I could see past it the first time. The second time, where I'm distanced from my hype and excitement to get to the end of the story, they definitely added way too much Batmobile to this game. So it's still a great, fantastic game, though. I think it's one of the better Batman games. Well, all the Batman games are fantastic, though. I really, that's like one of my favorite franchises ever. And so sad that they delayed Return to Arkham today. But really, all the Batman games are phenomenal. Go play them if you haven't. Arkham Knight, definitely worth your time. If all you've got is a PS4 and you were waiting for the collection to come out and now it got delayed, just go play Arkham Knight because it really is a phenomenal game still.
What if they're just delaying it so they can throw Arkham Knight in there?
That's a thought. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place, honestly.
Neither did I, but whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
So
number seven is one that's I know is going to be on your list at some point, and it is my only handheld game.
Ooh, very interesting.
So the good old Vita and the 3DS did not get much love on my list when I was going through it. I know you've got a couple coming.
3.
And I know what 2 of them are for sure.
3 of them, yes, are handheld games.
I know what 2 of them are. I could probably think of the third one if I thought about it for long enough. My number 7, Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. This is probably my favorite 3DS game, obviously, because it's the only one that cracked the top 10 list. Obviously, we weren't counting Majora's Mask remake and Ocarina of Time remake. But yeah, Link Between Worlds, we've talked about it plenty of times on this game. Fantastic.
On this game?
Or did I say on this game?
You did. You said no, we talked about it plenty on this game.
Video game podcast.
Nice save.
It's a great game. It's the best. It's one of the better top-down Zelda games ever. It's up there with Link to the Past.
Favorite Zelda game.
Yeah, and I kind of like the item system. I don't love the item system, but I like that it was something different to mix the series up. I like that you could kind of tackle the dungeons in any way that you wanted. The game had a lot of legs too. There was a bunch of stuff to do in it, and I got addicted to it one weekend. I would not stop playing the game.
Did you find all the Mai-Mais?
No, I found a decent amount of them though. There was a couple. I was missing a couple, and I just didn't feel like consulting a guide.
That game.
Yeah, I see. I know you like it a little bit more than I do. I mean, obviously, it's good enough to make my top 10 list. But yeah, the weekend I got this game, I was absolutely obsessed with it. So it's one of my favorite. Like I said, it's one of my favorite top-down Zelda games, even though I've only played a handful of them. Mm-hmm. But Link Between Worlds, great. If you own a 3DS, go buy it because it's the best 3DS game.
It's a must-play 3DS game.
What's your number 7?
Super Mario Maker.
Interesting. A game that I have not played.
Super Mario Maker is a game I don't think anyone ever thought Nintendo would make because it offers such unbridled freedom with with arguably their dearest franchise, like their biggest name. And people have been making utterly fantastic levels. There, there's such a strong and passionate community behind this game. There's nothing quite like. Do you remember the Nintendo World Championships when they did the
Yep.
race?
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing quite like that. And then they did a similar thing at AGDQ, where they brought in professional Mario speedrunners to play games they had never seen before, made by other professional Mario speedrunners. There's like this community surrounding this game, and the creativity I see in other levels. I sit here and I try to make levels, and I or honestly just make levels for my friends that are very, very difficult to their particular play styles. But there are people out there that are making these Kaizo levels that are seemingly impossible. And then other people are just creating super creative ones. Like there's one that's like a Mecha Bowser Jr., and it has like a story and a theme and a tone all within this level. And it's super creative about destroying the inside of this Mecha Bowser Jr. suit. It's super, super cool. And you see it happen. And all of this is possible only because of the Wii U tablet. You could not play this game on a Wii or with a traditional controller. It was born to be used on a touchscreen. So it is, if you had to justify the gamepad, if there's one game to do it, it would be Mario Maker.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I love the community so much, and I love the creativity. It's a great game when you have a couple of friends over, if you just to sit here and design a level together. Even though it's more of a single player game, it's a fantastic game. It's wonderful. I love it so very, very much. It's so much history packed into it too.
Yeah.
I really wish they would roll out a little more DLC for it. I would totally pay for a new skin set. Like a Super Mario World 2 skin set. And we've said on the show before, Super Mario Maker cannot die with
I was about
Wii
to
U.
bring up this exact thing. Yeah.
It can't die here. They have to. It has to come to NX in some capacity.
Yep. And if it does, then I'll jump on it and buy it, because I'm planning on buying an NX as of right now, depending on what it looks like. I'm hoping they bring Mario Maker 2, because they can't strain something like this on the Wii U forever. It has to come over some respect. So I'm hoping they do. And it's a great game to look up clips of on YouTube. I've done that. I've never really gone hands-on with the game too often. There was a demo in GameStop back when I used to work there, but besides that, I've never really played much of it, and it's something that I do want to play, but I just haven't taken a dive into yet. But it is fun to look up on the internet and see all the crazy levels that people have made. And this is a very community-oriented game, and the community for it is alive and well. So it's a really good pick. That's a game I didn't even think of just because I haven't really played it. So,
why? Thank you. Thank you.
Solid pick, Max. Let's see. Number 6. Are you ready?
Is this the one I'm gonna hate?
I don't know if you'll hate this, but you may hate it after you hear my number 5. Right.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what's your number 6?
Number 6 is Uncharted 4.
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy.
I had some legitimate. I had some, as good as the game was, and as good as satisfying as the story conclusion was, I did have some issues with it.
Flawless.
I feel like, and I have to say this because Max is gonna, whatever. Max is gonna freak out about it in a couple minutes. I did have some legitimate issues with it, though. And as much as I love Uncharted as a franchise, and as much as I love this game, it's a really phenomenal game. I was playing it earlier today. I was playing the multiplayer. I do have some legitimate issues and gripes with it. You should. It's actually really fun.
I have to for the trophies.
Yeah, that's what I was knocking out as well. I love the game. It's really a ton of fun. I enjoyed my time with it. I don't think it's the best in the series, though, and I do have some legitimate complaints with it. But that said, it is still one of the best games of this generation. It's one of the best games on the PS4 currently.
It's the prettiest game on the PS4.
The prettiest game I've ever played, bar none. It's a fantastic game. Like, you owe it to yourself to pick this up and play it, even though I'm coming at it from more of a negative standpoint, because I know Max is going to...
Negative Nate over here.
Yeah, you're going to flip out whenever you bring it up. And I also feel like I have to justify the fact that it is my number 6 rather than higher on the list, which I don't know if you expect it or not. Uh,
Well, we'll hear. Apparently, it's your number 5 is what I'm gonna be. What being out Uncharted 4 is gonna be a little bit.
well, you'll
We'll see
see.
what it
Well,
is.
you'll see the contention in a second, and you may have an idea where I'm going
All
with
right.
this.
Let's see it.
But that's my number 6 is Uncharted 4, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in a second.
We're gonna talk about it more, so don't
Call
you
it a
worry about it.
perfect game. And if you want to hear us talk
Perfect.
more about it, we've got plenty of. We've talked about it a ton the past couple months.
Well,
We've got
we
a
also
review spoiler cast, and
we do have a
all kinds
review
of other
up
stuff.
along with the spoiler cast. God,
What's your number 6? What's your number 6 though? We've got a ton of Uncharted.
Number 6, Destiny.
Destiny. I knew it'd be on here somewhere. I'm glad it didn't make the top 5.
Oh, but just barely. Destiny, similar to Mario Maker, the community is what keeps me playing Destiny, and even more so than Mario Maker, and I think more important to me is it's a tighter community because I only specifically play with my dear friend Kevin, and
Hey, Kevin.
recently his friend Jack bought a PS4 and he plays. So I really play with the two of them.
I thought Jack and Kevin were the same person.
Nope. No, Kevin uses Jack's name on Twitter.
I was talking to him about that earlier.
Yeah, it's great. So Destiny, it's a game that has truly evolved from vanilla way back 2 years ago. Or 2 years ago. Yeah. And now we're coming into the 3rd year of the game. And so much has changed, and the community has had its highs and its lows. And right now we're kind of in the lull as we wait for the Rise of Iron here in just 2 months.
The Wolfman DLC.
The Wolfman DLC. And it's just such an exciting time. There are true moments in that game I will never forget in my gaming career. Like the first time I did a raid, or the time we beat this boss Skolas and took 5 hours to beat him. I'll never forget my first. Yeah, that was a nightmare. I'll never forget my first exotic weapon. I'll never forget going flawless in Trials of Osiris for the first time. I'll never forget when Kevin got Galahorn as a drop at the end of a strike. Like there were just moments in this game, or when Xur sold Galahorn. That weekend was insane. Like Galahorn was trending on Twitter. It was insane.
I think you're speaking another language right now. I have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just special gun. It's just like it's the best exotic. It was the best exotic year one.
It was
arguably
the bazooka or whatever, right?
Yeah, the rocket launcher with the lion head on it, and it's coming back now as a pre-order item,
which makes it completely worthless almost at this point, doesn't it? I know a bunch of people in the community were kind of annoyed about it.
It just evens the playing field. So certain players
everybody's got a lion bazooka running around with it.
Yeah, everyone's gonna have it. So it wasn't like great in PvP. It was great in PvE. That's where it was king. So if everyone has one in PvE, it's it's fair, it's balanced. It's by no means the best weapon in PvP, but not to get too technical. I love Destiny, and Destiny is a game that is the moment I played the alpha, I fell in love with it, and I really never expected to go this far with it, and I wouldn't have if it wasn't for Kevin. So it is a game that really does mean something to me. It's special. It's a winner.
Right on, dude. That's about all I can say to that, because we've talked about Destiny enough times on the show. That there's no reason to talk
Buckle
about
up
it
for
anymore.
that talk on September 20th when Rise of Iron comes out.
Somebody please kill me. Number 5. We're just gonna go to number 5 now.
Number 5.
So this is where you may get a little contentious here. Where
he says, "I swear
with you."
I swear to God, if it's Fallout 4.
No, it's Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I know you love.
Now you're flipping nuts.
I'm not nuts at all. I love the open environments in this game. I love the collectibles.
All 2 of them.
All 2 of the collectibles?
Open environments. There's 2 big open environments.
Says the person who gloated about Uncharted 4's supposed open environments.
Wide linear. Not open environment. I mean, they're open technically, but yes, wide linear.
Here's the thing. I know you love Rise of the Tomb Raider, and I won't be shocked.
Rise of the Tomb Raider is a great game. It's not better than Uncharted 4.
But to me, it is. I enjoyed it way more than Uncharted 4. Obviously, the story was trash, but I think the gameplay is.
I do love that bow.
The vastly superior to Uncharted in almost every way in terms of gameplay. Uncharted 4 just needed to do something new, in my opinion. And this is turning too much into a compare and contrast between those two.
Talk about
Basically,
why you love Tomb Raider.
yeah, I'll talk about
Very
why I
well.
love Tomb Raider instead. Again, the open environments. I love the collectibles. I love going back to every place again. I love the weapons. I love the upgrade system. I love that you can hunt in these certain areas and things like that to then gather resources and then go back and upgrade your machine gun with deer horns or something like that. Like, I love those
Mm-hmm.
constant reward system. And
Rise of the Tomb Raider is how you do a sequel, especially from the Tomb Raider reboot
yeah,
2 years before. Rise of the Tomb Raider is a fantastic game. It's a better game than its predecessor in every way.
it's seriously like, I'm glad that PlayStation people are finally going to get a chance to play it later this year,
Yeah,
which has
it
been
really
something I think
sucks
most of
about
us
that
forgot about.
exclusivity.
Yeah, but it's finally coming out to PlayStation 4 later this year. Please pick it up. It's a fantastic game. It really is. It's one of my favorites from last year. I think it was in my top 5 at the end of the year when we did our Game of the Year show. It's just the gameplay wise, it's one of the best gameplay games this generation. I think just so many different elements to it, between the climbing and the bow and arrow feels so good to use. I love
Mhm.
I love the different one-off tombs that are in the game. There's just so many
I
little.
wish there were more tombs though.
Yeah, but there was a good amount. There was a pretty decent amount. I mean, there was like 11 or 12, I
Yeah,
feel
I don't
like.
know. I thought I wish there were more, and that's not because like I think that's more a testament to how much fun they were. Like I just wanted to do more of that.
Yeah, no, I agree. They're a great moment of the game, and I would have liked to have more of them too. But I think, considering the size of the game and the scope of the game, there was a good amount of them. But it would have been nice if we would have gotten DLC with like 5 new tombs or something like that, which maybe they released. I never paid attention to the downloadable
No, they
content for
did
that.
they did some story DLC, but not like major.
But yeah, gameplay wise, that's why I put it above Uncharted. Story wise, there's no competition. It goes to Uncharted every single time.
Or
But I
visuals
think
or everything else, but
Rise of the Tomb Raider is a very pretty game, though,
it's
and
very they nail
that's the
snow,
thing.
man. They nail
Yeah,
but so
like,
does Uncharted.
even though Uncharted is the most beautiful game I've ever played, Rise of the Tomb Raider is pretty up there as well.
Mhm. Oh, it's good.
So, I mean, to say that Uncharted 4 is better visually is true, but it's almost splitting hairs to a certain degree. So, Rise is great. I love it. I put it above Uncharted purely because of the gameplay. So, I'm
Okay.
interested to see if it's coming up on yours soon.
It's not. Rise of Tomb Raider did not make my list.
Interesting. Probably because you got stuck in that one area for 3 weeks.
Oh my gosh. I'm telling you that hole was not there. I looked. I promise you that was patched in. That was
What's
patched.
your number 5, Max?
Oh my gosh. Number 5, we've already talked about it. A Link Between Worlds.
Link Between Worlds. All right.
Some minor things I wanted to add. I think the puzzles in this game are very good.
Yeah.
You can really feel a sense of achievement when you solve them. And I think that's one of Zelda's strong suits. And I think they did very, very well with that. The other thing is the speed run for this game is kind of what like I learned to do a little bit of the speed run in the beginning, and that was something I was practicing for a while. And it's cool. That's the first time I've ever intentionally broken a game like that. And I think that makes it a little more special for me. And I love the game for that, seeing someone beat the game in an hour and a half and then saying I can do that and then actually doing parts of that. Obviously, I never got down. I don't think I ever completed a speed run of the game, like doing all the methods for it.
Yeah.
But
It was something you got into, and
yeah, and that's a part of that game for me now.
yeah.
Obviously, to the masses, it's not at all, but it's a very, very cool way to look at the game and break it and see what you weren't supposed to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of similar to me putting PT on the list purely because it's gone. I mean, that's not a reason to judge a game necessarily, but it's one that I judge it on. So,
It's gone forever.
but yeah, Link
All
Between
right.
Worlds is awesome. Seriously, go buy it. If you have a 3DS, please go buy it. Worth your time and your money.
Number 4.
Number 4 is a game that I don't know if you thought about, because it's a game I almost forgot about till I looked at my shelf and realized that I put 110, 120 hours into it, and I think it's my favorite RPG of this generation so far, is Dragon Age Inquisition.
I never played it.
First Dragon Age game I've put on my list. I love BioWare games. I like Dragon Age a lot.
Pronounced The Witcher 3 wrong.
No, I'm
I'm
correct in
just
what I put on there.
I'm just messing with you.
Uh, I put a ton of time into Dragon Age. I loved it. I thought especially coming off of the heels of Dragon Age 2, which was not as good. It's actually, I actually really like Dragon Age 2 though. I'm kind of in the minority there. But Dragon Age Inquisition was fantastic. I love the wide open environments that they've put in the game. Tons of quests, tons of stuff to do in the game. I spent, again, close to 120 hours in the game on one playthrough. I love all the different dragons you can go and fight, which is something that hasn't been in the series really before, even though it's called Dragon Age. It was fun leveling up your character high enough to the point where you're like, yeah, I can go fight this dragon now. And they were all completely optional for the most part, but getting your character to a high enough level to then go out and fight those was fun. I liked having your own castle that you controlled from top to bottom. I liked being in charge of the Inquisition. The characters are great in it. Story's fine. Don't like Dragon Age stories have never been like my go-to thing. Like Mass Effect's overall story is. It was a good story. I thought it was a lackluster final boss though. But besides that, Dragon Age Inquisition is probably my favorite game of 2014, I want to say. It was, probably my favorite game of 2014 was Dragon Age Inquisition. I really had a blast playing that, and it was one of the first good next-gen games, I thought. So,
okay. Funny story about me and Dragon Age Inquisition. That was almost the first guide I did.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That would have
helped out.
That would have blown your little mind. I wonder if you would have liked it though.
Probably. I think now post Witcher, I would have liked it.
Yeah. It's a good game. It's a really good game. I liked it a lot.
Instead, they put me on Tales from the Borderlands.
And
see how it all works out.
Two roads diverged. Woodland area, and you took the Tales from the Borderlands one.
Well, they gave it to me, so I took that road. My number 4. I'm curious if this one's on your list.
I know what it is, and
you do?
I think so. If you're asking me that question, go ahead and say it.
Hotline Miami.
I knew you were gonna say it. No, it's not on my list.
Darn it.
I debated very, very strongly about putting that one at number 10.
I didn't know if I should put it this week or last week, because it was out on PS3. It was out on PS3, but I decided to put it on this week because I played it on my Vita.
Yeah.
And it is the best on the Vita. Don't let those PC people fool you.
Yep.
And certainly no one on console fool you. It is pure magic on the Vita. That touchscreen is perfect for it.
That's why you buy a Vita for this game.
You buy a Vita for Hotline Miami and Persona 4 and Uncharted and Danganronpa.
All the other indie games.
You buy a Vita because a Vita is good. Anyway, Hotline Miami, top down, beat the crap out of everything. It's the hardest platinum I've ever earned to this date. It's grueling, addictive, quick, snappy, has a near perfect soundtrack. Oh, that means it gets stuck in your head. It's so good. I listen to it in my car sometimes. I'm just like, oh, it's so good.
Do you like Hotline 1 soundtrack more than Hotline 2?
Yes.
I think I like Hotline 2's a little bit more. But I
Hotline
also haven't
2's has more slow songs, quieter songs.
Yeah.
And they're good, but I think Hotline 1 is more focused. Just like the game is more focused. It's very tight. It's very quick. It's snappy. You have to be good at it. It's a game you do get better at. Sometimes there's a little random element because sometimes there's just bull crap. Guards come in and snipe you across the map, but you have to get better and you learn where they are and you really get to know these maps and you really build the score and earning that platinum, especially after losing my entire save. That is a fantastic game. And when 2 came out, I was so excited. I'm so bummed that the level maker got canned for PS4 because it was supposed to come to PlayStation, but it didn't. They canned it. It's only on PC.
Yeah.
So I'm bummed about that. Honestly, I probably could just buy it on my computer and hook up a controller, but still not as good as it be on Vita.
Every time we talk about this game, I really start getting the itch to go back and play it. I've been wanting to knock out that Hotline Miami 1 Platinum for quite a while.
How far are you in trophies on that? Because it's hard.
I haven't played it since I beat it. I mean, I'm at the same point I've always been.
Yeah, so you have quite a few trophies then.
Yeah, I got a lot left to do.
It's good. Oh my gosh, it's a satisfying platinum.
It was the first game I ever played on my Vita too, so that's kind of why I want to go back and do it again, because I've had my Vita for a while now, and that was the first one. That was like one of the reasons I bought the Vita.
The Vita is
I know what your next one is. I just thought of your third handheld game because it was one
there you go.
Yep, I know what it is now. It's probably coming up next. If it's number 2, I'd be surprised. But yeah, I want to go back and play it on Vita, and maybe I will. There's a couple things.
Good. So it's a must on my Vita. I never delete it off my Vita.
Yeah, if you have a Vita and you don't buy the game, you're
honestly, you probably own it by now because it's been free on PS Plus.
Has it?
Huh,
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was free on PS Plus. God, I remember when 2 came out. I was so excited that day.
I love 2. See, that's the thing. I was debating between putting not 2. Both of them on the list, but I don't even know which one I like more between those two. And again, it's been so long since I played.
They're two slightly different beasts. They changed the gameplay mechanics in the right way, but the areas are just too big.
They're too big, and that's my issue with it, as well as there's that small bit of randomness that you talked about, and how you can be good at the game.
Into.
Yeah. So, and it's a little bit more frustrating because of that, because you can get through Hotline Miami 1 with pure skill most of the time. Hotline Miami 2, you almost need a little bit of luck sometimes, depending on how the enemies
pinch of it, just a tiny smidge. What's your number 3?
Max, you're gonna hate this.
I'm gonna hate your number 3.
This is the one you're gonna hate, like full on despise.
If it's Fallout 4, I'm gonna be a little upset because it's essentially Fallout 3 with houses. But
no, you're gonna be even more pissed.
What? Well, I seriously don't know what it could be if I'm gonna be that upset with you for an opinion.
Assassin's Creed 4.
No.
Yes.
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy at all. It's like the best pirate game that's ever been made.
It's the best pirate game. It's by no means a good Assassin's Creed.
Why does that matter, though? Why does that matter?
It doesn't.
Exactly. That's my point.
On the box.
That's the point, though. That's why it's so good, is because it's not anything close to being an Assassin's Creed.
I hate the ship mechanic. It took my least favorite part of 3 and made it the whole game. Ugh.
It's amazing, though. That's the thing, is the ship mechanics are so good. That ocean is so lifelike. There's so much to do in that world, and they mixed it up so much. You're right. It's not an Assassin's Creed game. That's why it's good, because I haven't loved an Assassin's Creed game since 2. The ones that follow the
you didn't love Brotherhood? I love Brotherhood.
Brotherhood was good.
I thought Brotherhood just added the one brother, where you added people.
Yeah, it wasn't like revolutionary to me or anything. I like how it all took place in one city compared to a bunch of different cities, but no, I think I haven't truly adored an Assassin's Creed game since 2. And then I think the reason I loved 4 so much was because it's nothing like the others. It's its own beast, and I wish they would almost split off and do a separate franchise with just pirates.
They seriously could. They can make a Pirates Creed.
I know that they did Assassin's Creed Rogue, but that came out on the last gen consoles when we had already gone into next gen. So
back when companies were doing the split offering.
Yeah, kind of died.
Technically, they still are. You remember when Black Ops came out for PS3 and 360 as multiplayer only?
Yeah, that was really dumb.
Do you think they do that with Infinite Warfare?
I don't think so. They haven't announced it for PS3 or 360. I think they finally killed it.
So you don't think they do a downgrade for multiplayer only?
I don't think so. The Black Ops got trashed for that too. People were really frustrated about that.
I mean, the market though makes sense. Anyway, continue.
I mean, it's 3 years after the consoles have come out. If you haven't upgraded yet, then you're just insane. It's so good. This game is so good. Getting the resources and going out and, hey, I'm gonna go kill that stupid whale, and you kill the whale and then you harvest its bones, and it's like, cool, I'll make my ship better because I killed a stupid whale or something like that. It's not an Assassin's Creed game, but it's a phenomenal pirate game. Here's the thing: story's garbage. Toss the story out the window. Toss all of the Abstergo crap right out the window. But the pirate elements in this, I have always, since I was a kid, wanted a game like this where you're going from island to island and doing random stuff and going out on the open seas and fighting other pirate captains and blowing their ships into Davy Jones' locker. Like, it's so good. And the feeling of upgrading your ship and then going off and fighting these different like super hard boss battles of sorts where it's ship fighting in the open sea is great. And again, the ocean is so lifelike. Like, I know that this game is on 360 and PS3, but when I played it on my Xbox One at launch, it shocked me that they could get that ocean to run on 360 and PS3. Like, I've never played the last gen versions, but I wonder what it looks like and I wonder how it feels because that ocean is so lifelike and I have no idea how they wrote the code for that.
You can there's a graphics comparison on IGN you could watch.
Like, I just wonder if it feels the same way because
probably not.
Yeah, I
Shadow of Mordor like didn't even have the Nemesis system on last gen.
Yeah. Shadow of Mordor, I didn't think about that game. Wouldn't have made my top 10, but that's a solid game. Anyway, yeah, I know you have been historically just very much against Assassin's Creed game, and your reason is always, it's not an Assassin's Creed game.
It's not, and also it took my least favorite part of 3 and made it the whole game.
Why was it your least favorite part?
I do not like those controls.
I think it controls fine. It controls super similar to Sly in the pirate parts on that game.
No, I did not like it at all. I was so upset.
I put like 50 hours into Assassin's Creed 4 and I thought it was very similar to Sly.
Hardcore. It's like, this is dumb.
Guess you don't like good games about pirates.
It's a great game.
Like, I don't know what other controls the ship could have though.
I don't know either.
That's the thing. Is I thought it controlled very well. You've been a hater about Assassin's Creed for like the past 3 entries, and I haven't liked most of them either.
3 was the last one I really played,
which is like the worst one out of the past 5, I would say.
And I wouldn't go as far as worst. It's up there with most disappointing.
I didn't play Unity, so I can't speak to that.
Unity ran pretty bad, I heard. Anyway, my number 3. You ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
This one synced up. You know how Mario Kart 8 didn't sync up? You know, Mario Kart 8 was 9 when it's 8. This one syncs up. Witcher 3.
Okay, so I know what your top 2 are now.
Yeah, you do. Witcher 3 is my 3rd favorite game. Witcher 3 is, I guess, the game that broke me out of the curse of... oh, she's calling again. I'm sorry.
Abby. If it's Abby.
It's my mother, if you must know. The open world, it's such a magical place. The side quests, the stories you make, the leveling up, the weapons, everything about this game, the story, the DLCs. This game is so good. It's I've spent over 100 hours in the game. I guess, again, for full disclosure, I did the guide for this game as well.
Wow. IGN's paying you off again to put things in the 3 spot now.
I know, number 3. They paid a little more for this one. But The Witcher 3 is fantastic.
Yeah, we've talked about it.
I don't know how much more I can say about it.
We've talked about it a ton. Go listen to our Game of the Year episode from last year. We both awarded it the best game of 2015.
It deserves it.
It's a phenomenal game. It's very large, very, very taxing on your brain and your chest because you feel like you can't breathe when you open up that map. My number 2, Max. So this is one that has taken a while to grow on me, but it finally did. And I told you about this. This is a game from last year that did not initially leave the imprint that I thought it would until I kept playing. And then eventually I realized how good of a game it was. And that game is Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
Dun 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 dun.
It didn't even crack my top 5 last year in our Game of the Year discussion.
Because you didn't beat it.
Because I didn't beat it, and I didn't see it through to the end. I finally went back and played it though, and my gosh, it's such a phenomenal game. It really is. It's the best gameplay in the Metal Gear Solid series. I know the story isn't as there as you want it to be, especially early on. But I'm telling you, the story does get better later. The further you go into the game, um, yeah, I don't know. I've talked about this game a bunch on the show, and we've talked about Metal Gear as a franchise a lot on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I know your main holdup with it was the story, but I think it does really get interesting the deeper into it you get.
Yeah, and I mean the gameplay is so tight. I mean it's one of the best stealth games ever made, and it's a gorgeous, huge world.
I think
But
it's
its story just
maybe.
wasn't like Metal Gear standards for me so far.
I think that it is one of the best pure gameplay games on my list, and that's why it is so high.
It's so
Is
deep.
because that loop of going out into the field and doing certain missions and getting more resources, and then going back to your base and then upgrading your weapons or upgrading your Fulton. Is it Fulton? Yeah,
Yeah, Fulton.
yeah. Just all of that stuff is such a great loop. Just keep going back to over and over again. And I think the story does have a good into it overall. They leave one big thing left unsaid, but they weren't able to finish it in the appropriate time. So Kojima kind of got screwed out of the real ending that he wanted to do, which was a disappointment. But other than that, I really think the game, once you see it through to its conclusion, Max, it is very satisfying. And did you end up going and reading the end
No.
of the game?
Nope.
You still never know what happens?
Nope. I don't. I will get there one day.
I was gonna say, are you gonna go back and play it at some point?
One day. One day I will. It's my duty as a
If you,
Metal Gear fan, I
I was
guess.
gonna say, you need to either see it through to the end or just go read a plot synopsis, because it does retcon a bunch of stuff that happens later on in the franchise, but it also makes sense. The end of this game makes a lot more sense when thinking about how Metal Gear Solid 4 works and how the ending of Metal Gear Solid 4 shakes out at the end. So
that 2-hour cutscene.
Huh?
That 2-hour cutscene.
Yeah, the 2-hour cutscene to end the game.
And 4. Yeah.
It does. It makes a lot of sense when you see what they did here. I know a bunch of people were frustrated with how they went about the story at the end. I think I'm okay with it. It's strange and it's something you wouldn't ever really think of, but it's fine. Kojima's weird as always, and he wrote the story and he can do whatever he wants with it, and I'm fine with it. I like and story aside, gameplay is just so good. It really is, and I adore the game. I think open world Metal Gear is something that I didn't know I would love until I played it, and then I played it. And
yep.
Max, let's hear about Guacamelee.
Yep. Guacamelee is a great game, dude. Love Guacamelee.
I knew that would be your number two.
No, number 2. Wait, you're joking, right?
Is that your number 2?
No, it's not.
Oh,
No.
then I got it wrong.
Oh, you really thought Guacamelee was my number 2?
Guacamelee was your number 2.
Oh, no, you didn't think about this then. Oh, when I say it, you're gonna be like, why didn't I think of that?
No, it would probably be something really dumb that I'm missing. Something very apparent.
Shovel Knight.
Duh.
I don't know how you missed that.
Yeah, I don't know how I missed that either.
It's actually on every single one of these platforms for this week, so it actually crosses every platform where this generation has. And I own it on all of them. I've bought this game 4 times, potentially buying it for a 5th time because there's a limited edition boxed Vita version. And I've always wanted the box of the game because it comes with this gorgeous old school manual. And I think that having my favorite version of the game physically, and it's also limited edition, and getting the guide, I think it all just comes really nice together. Anyway, Shovel Knight. Perfect? Yes. It's an utterly fantastic game. It's short.
You got a bunch of perfect games out there.
They're so different though, and that's what I love about video games. Shovel Knight has quite possibly my favorite video game soundtrack. They just announced it's coming to vinyl.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw you tweet about that this morning.
So I might well, I mean, it's not a might. I am buying it, but I thought I was going to die. Because it's funny, because about a week ago, the idea hit me that it should be on vinyl. And I tweeted out to the composer and Yacht Club Games, and the composer responded and was like, said what would have to happen for it to be done, and then
They got it done.
they got it done. Obviously, this has been a discussion for a while, so he knew when he sent that to me it was coming. But
Yeah.
Shovel Knight on vinyl, holy cow! This game, its gameplay is king. It's pure. It's tight. It is fantastic level design. It takes all this great stuff from the NES era and mixes it in one game. I love it on my Vita, and I also love it on the Wii U. I think those are the two best places to play, particularly for Wii U because of the Shovel Knight Amiibo edition, and you can play with a sideways Wiimote, and I think that's about as traditional of a controller as you can get for this game, considering what it's going for. But I think Shovel Knight is a game that really captures the spirit of our first week of old school games with the NES
Platforming.
and this core platforming, and brings it into modern era with this gorgeous art and new lessons learned, from the past 30, 40 years of game development. So I think it's this beautiful, beautiful game, and we're getting 2 new campaigns this year with a couple of new modes. Like, this game is still happening, and they did a little poll not too long ago about what you would like to see Yacht Club do next, and there were a couple of really cool ideas on there, including Shovel Knight ideas. One of them was Shovel Knight Kart, like have everyone like a kart racer.
That'd be pretty cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? Like, that'd be a really fun game, I think. But
the game's still getting a bunch of content too, which is the cool part. But I hope they eventually
it's done after this year. Like,
I was gonna say,
it's the stretch goals. Like, they had stretch goals in the Kickstarter,
yeah,
and they have to meet them. And
you think they're working on Shovel Knight 2 yet? I feel like they've got some concepts.
It would be in pre-production if anything, because they're doing so much to wrap this game up this year. Like, that's the goal.
Team or anything like that. So
it's not a big group at all. But anyway, Shovel Knight number 2.
Max, we're at my number 1. And I'm wondering if you have any ideas on what you
can't be Fallout 4 now.
So I don't know. Because I think this one's gonna. Okay, so what did I say? I'm gonna have one that frustrates you, and that was Assassin's Creed.
Yes.
I have one that's gonna shock you. I think that might be the number 1. And what else?
I think it was PT.
Yeah, that was the surprise. PT was the surprise. Uncharted 4, Rise of the Tomb Raider above Uncharted 4 was the one I thought was gonna frustrate you. I told you would hate Assassin's Creed 4.
Yeah. Okay, so you were right so far. I mean, PT actually wasn't a surprise, but
number 1 for me, I almost just blurted it out, and I don't know if you heard. Number 1 for me is Bloodborne.
Oh, interesting. Very cool.
That's how much I love that game when I went back and played it last month. Finally,
as you were waiting for Uncharted.
Yeah, I finally decided to give it a shot as I was in a holding pattern waiting for Uncharted 4, and wow, Bloodborne is a phenomenal video game. I can't say enough good things about it. I've already talked about it in the past couple recent episodes because it's been something I've just gotten into recently. It's so good. I love the world that Bloodborne's in. I love how gothic and strange it is. Just everybody left and right's exploding into becoming a werewolf boy, and these werewolf boys are jumping on you, trying to attack you. It's hard, but it's satisfying, and you can feel yourself steadily getting better at it as you go along. I like how the environments are kind of open, and there is a path that you got to get to, but you got to figure that out. So it's not pushing you down a specific path all the time. It lets you figure it out on your own. I don't know. This was my first experience with like a Souls game of sorts, and it didn't disappoint. And I texted you earlier and said I'm really wanting to get Dark Souls 3, and that's what I'm looking to do next. But seriously, Bloodborne was the first, and I think the reason it's number 1 on my list is because it is so different to me, especially like I said, being the first Souls game I've played. And I think this is why it's really struck a chord with so many gamers around the world, is because it is such a different thing, and it's almost its own genre, sort of. Like, there's nothing that I've played that's really similar to Bloodborne, and it sticks out in my mind and is unique because of that. And while there is similar things to it, I mean, it's an action RPG for the most part, but it's really just it's its own beast of sorts. And I love Bloodborne. It's a phenomenal game. It's the best PS4 game. It's yeah. I don't know. I told you that I thought I liked Bloodborne more after I finished Uncharted 4, and I was like, I think I like Bloodborne more now that I've played both of them. It just really it caught me off guard when I played it about a month ago, and
That's
I'm
good.
very excited to play the rest of the games in the series.
Now, everyone just buckle up for my number one.
I wonder
Just
I wonder
hold
what
on,
it is.
because it's going to surprise everyone. It's a little game, tiny one, just an ABA one, by a little known studio called Naughty Dog. And
I told you we couldn't put remasters on our list.
I know, I'm sorry, but The Last of Us Remastered was just so good. No, Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 is my favorite game this generation. It's so perfect. I love the pacing, the worlds, the gunplay. I like the grappling hook. The story is top notch. I think it is a more grounded and finer story than The Last of Us. I think like they took The Last of Us is all over this game in the best ways possible. It's absolutely gorgeous environment. I don't know. I mean, like we said earlier, there's our Uncharted 4 episodes. I don't know how I can praise this game anymore. I absolutely adore it to the highest degree.
Yeah, I mean, we know where each of us stand on this game. We both think it's phenomenal. You think it's the best. You think it's not only your favorite. You think it's like one of the best games ever made.
Ever, yeah.
Period.
I agree. I agree with British GQ.
What did they say?
They said it's the best game of all time. Like that was the quote slapped all over the commercials and stuff around launch. And I know GQ is a legitimate, like, magazine, news site, like all that stuff, entertainment. But I just love that it was the British GQ. I always got a kick out of that.
British GQ says it's the best.
Best game ever made.
Yeah, it's a great game. I mean, we don't have to get into an argument about it. And I don't even think it, I mean, see, that's the thing. Like, it's not even an argument because we both agree that it's so good, but you put it in like a different stratosphere than I do. And
yes, I do.
It's very much, I view it very differently than you do, which is fine, and that's why we've done our favorite list rather than the games that we think are the best. Of course, Max would probably have Uncharted 4 still at the top of his best list, and I would actually have Uncharted 4 much higher if we were doing a best game list. But yeah, I don't know. I had certain issues with it.
That's what we're going to do next 6 weeks. The best games.
Oh gosh, no. There would be a lot of crossover, actually, I think.
It would. It would, but that would be so... Like, wow. I love this little series we did, but I'm excited that it's done next week.
Yeah, because we can get some guests on the show and stuff like that sometime soon. Which
and back to really traditional topics.
Yes. So, but I think this has been a good filler for 5 now. Next week, 6 weeks. So that is it for this week. Those are our current favorite games. Of course, this list could change on a whim. Maybe I played Dark Souls 3 and that's my new number 1 or something like that.
Seriously, it could change tomorrow. Apparently, this Inside game's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. It could. I mean, I may have Lego Star Wars on my front porch right now. So
I did. I got mine on my front porch. So
I need to go out there and check the mail for it. But anyway, as we do every week, let's recount down our top 10 lists. I'll start. My number 10 was Sunset Overdrive. 9 was PT. 8 was Star Wars Battlefront. 7 was Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds. 6 was Uncharted 4. 5 was Rise of the Tomb Raider. 4 Dragon Age Inquisition. 3 Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. 2 Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain, and number 1 was Bloodborne. Max, what was yours?
Well, number 10 was Tales from the Borderlands. Number 9 was Mario Kart 8. Number 8 was Batman Arkham Knight. Number 7 was Super Mario Maker. Number 6 was Destiny. Number 5 was Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. Number 4 was Hotline Miami. Number 3 is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Number 2 is Shovel Knight, and number 1 is Uncharted 4 A Thief's End.
Good solid list. By the way, did you think that I was going to put Witcher on my list? I was curious about that.
No.
You didn't? Okay. Yeah,
because I didn't beat it.
I didn't beat it. I like it a lot, but yeah, I was just curious about that because I did give it my Game of the Year award last year. But Never saw through to the end. So that's it for this week.
You still can.
We still could.
You still can. It's right there, right?
Yeah, I know. I tried to jump back into it. It just wasn't grabbing me at the moment. So I decided to put it back down for a little bit. I'm going to go back to it eventually. Same with you and Metal Gear Solid 5.
One day.
That's it for this week. This is our final week of counting down the console generations. We're at current gen now. As I said, these lists could change a year from now, a week from now. It just depends. But as it stands right now, this is our top 10 current gen favorite games, which means next week is finally the final episode.
Finally the final.
That's great. That's great use of the English language. Next week is our last top 10 list, though, week 6, and it cultivates in our favorite games of all time, our top 10 favorite games of all time. So now that we've counted down all the different console generations, now we can compile our lists to say what our true favorite games of all time are. So we're going to be picking our favorites from all of the lists that we've created over the past 5 weeks, and we're going to be putting them in top 10 order. It's gonna be a hoot next week. And I really think we should do it as just one episode where that's all we focus on. Personally,
we might. We'll see how it goes.
That's what I would like to do. That's what I'm gonna plan on right now. I don't see anything massively amazing happening over the next 6 or 7 days, but we'll see. We may also start recording these on Sunday as well. If you do like to watch it live on YouTube when we record it, we do that. We tweet the link out at MGS Podcast. We may start recording on Sundays instead of Tuesdays just because we're busier throughout the week now and things like that. So we'll let you know. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow the show at MGS Podcast. You can follow me, Logan, at Moreman12. You can follow Max at Max the White. Follow us there. We'll keep you up to date with everything. We'll figure out what we want to do next week. But we've finally gotten through the different console generations now. So next week's the last week for this segment. I've greatly enjoyed it. I'm interested to see what is on your list besides the number 1 spot, which if you've stuck true to what you've said, I know what it is already.
Everyone knows what it is.
But I challenge you again. I'm going to challenge you again here. Give it a good hard look.
Dude.
All right. I'm not disbelieving you. I'm just saying, think about it. Think about it hard.
I do think about it. I think about it every night.
All right. Just making sure. So next week's going to be our top 10 favorite games of all time. Join us back here for that. We really do hope you come here. If you like watching us on YouTube, you can find us at Millennial Gaming Speak. You can find us at Millennial Gaming Speak on Facebook as well. Follow us there. We've only got a couple likes, but like us there. We'll we update that. We put the show up there every week, so you can find it there in case you don't have a Twitter or something like that. If you watch on YouTube, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, if you listen via iTunes or anything like that, please leave us a review there. We would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get our show built up a little bit more here and trying to get some things in the works. We've been working at the show for about a month and a half now, trying to expand it a little bit more. And that's why we're on YouTube and things like that now. But please, anything that you want to say or comment or whatever on any of our platforms would be fantastic. Also, you can email us any questions, comments, or concerns at mgspodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, as always. Did I miss anything, Max? Kind of right here.
I don't think so.
I think I got everything. Trying to fill all those social media feeds now, so it's getting hard to remember.
Yeah, plug.
But we'll be back next week. It's going to be episode 48. We're going to count down our top 10 favorite games of all time. Please join us if you've been listening to this 6-week segment. This is going to be fun. It's going to all cultivate next week in the grand finale. It's like a fireworks show. It's going to be a bunch of explosions all over the place. So we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun time. Be an episode we can point back to for quite some time, I think. And yeah, that's it. That's it. That's it for episode 47. We appreciate you for joining us this week. We hope you come back next week. We look forward to seeing and hearing from you throughout the week. But until then, have a good one. We love you. Bye-bye.
Adios. Apparently, I have to go.